Time for another round of unpopular opinions. I'm going to read out some potentially controversial cycling opinions and hot takes from around the internet. We'll debate them and decide if we agree or disagree. So the first one is sent in by Mo. He says, I live in Ottawa, Canada, which is a big cycling city with lots of well-off cyclists. I've heard fellow cyclists disparaging non-matching kit and especially bikes with non-matching wheels, group sets, components, etc. So, unpopular opinion, Frankenbikes are way cooler than matching off-the-rack try-hard rigs. Frankenkit too. Make the bike that works for you. Wear the kit that works for you.
I do very much agree with the sentiment of do whatever works for you, and I'm a big believer and passionate pusher of it. But for me personally,
you want to conform.
I like some things for me, I like to have in a particular way. I'm very particular about some things, but I would never push that onto other people.
See, I think, I agree with you completely on this one. Where I've got weird quirks. Like I see you dress
You do
your
indeed.
kit with your wild color schemes, and I think, no, I could never do that. But I like the fact that you do it, but I would never do it. Yeah. I have weird things as well where I don't need to shave my legs riding gravel. Doesn't bother me in the slightest bit. If I'm riding in the road, I feel self-conscious if I have hairy legs. I'd have to shave them. For any kind of road event in summer, my legs have to be shaved. And that's the only time I would shave it.
Do you think that's because you're thinking about what other people are thinking about you? Or?
Yes, I think it's conditioning from when I was younger, racing on the road and riding on the road where it's just done. And now with gravel, I don't care, which is really weird. Talking in bikes, yes, 2 different wheels will crack me. But then at the same time, we as a shop are really hard trying to push people to not stick to one group set. So for instance, if you're buying a group set from, I'm going to use SRAM as an example to do the slot, don't feel forced to buy a full red group set or a full force group set or a full rival group set. Some places is going to give you more benefit than others. So on my bike, I've got rival levers because in my opinion, they're exactly the same as the force levers. They feel the same. They weigh the same-ish. It's nothing that's going to make a difference. But then a rival cassette's a lot cheaper. It lasts really long, slightly heavier. Chain, I go for a more expensive chain because they last longer. And then chain set, depending on how important it is, the rival's really cheap, but it's heavier. Force is more expensive, but then lighter. So I like mixing things together. Mullet group sets.
Let's be honest. Your chain set you pick based on how you want it to look and how much you can afford. That's the whole point of a chain set, isn't it?
That's the thing also. Don't stick with chain. Don't buy a SRAM chain set. Buy something else.
Shimano.
If you like Shimano, I guess Shimano one.
On your SRAM group set.
If it works.
Do you mean that's the whole
and
point?
You like the look of
Frankenbike.
it, Frankenbike. But what I'm trying to say is...
Well, I'm just testing him. I'm pushing to see what he's willing
Personally,
to
I don't
say.
like the Shimano one. There's been a few issues in the past. So that's probably the one thing I wouldn't get from them. But what I'm getting at is, for instance, if you've got loads of money, buy a sturdy chain set. Buy a titanium chain set. Buy something nice if you want to. I've got an Ingrid chain set on one of my bikes. A lot of money. Don't know if it's worth it, but it looks nice. So...
What about wheels that don't match?
I can't go that far.
Tires that don't match. And one amber wall and one not amber wall.
Tires that don't match is something that I'm really against. But currently on my bike, I have tires that don't match because I've put a grippier tire on the front that I like from Michelin, and then I've got a Vittoria on the back. I think it doesn't bother me that it doesn't match. It bothers me more that one's grey and one's black.
I think the important thing is that, we do agree with this. And the important thing is do whatever you want to do and just don't push your opinions and views onto other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to be careful doing that the other way as well, because Mo's point is, let people have Frankenbikes if they want, but then he calls it an off-the-rack try-hard rig. That feels like a bit judgy as well, doesn't it?
Spot kettle kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't have an issue with other people doing it. Some stuff with myself, but that's just more of a... being self-conscious about certain things, and which is wrong, but yeah.
It all perpetuates the elitism though, doesn't it? You're doing it to fit in, and then people see you doing it, so then they do it to fit in, and it just perpetuates.
But then, 83% of cycling is looking good. So,
and who's to say what that means?
But that's your own choice. It's not so, exactly.
Okay. We're all agreed, I think. So this one is from Sandy, who I'm going to assume is a guy. They say, why don't bibs have detachable straps? Bibs are comfy AF, but it is absurd to have to take a jacket and jersey off to have a shit. Why don't bib straps detach somehow to let the bottom come down without having to strip off? Why have clothing brands not innovated a way out of this? Why is shitability not considered a product advantage? So his unpopular opinion is bib shorts are an unnecessary optimization lifted from racing. It's like wearing a fireproof suit and helmet for driving to the shops. Yeah, super safe, but not convenient. And the reason I think this is probably a guy is that in the women's cycling space, there are loads of these. You can get drop tail bibs where the back just, the super, super stretchy straps and the back just pops down. You get magnets and clasps on straps. You can get zips across the bum. You get waisted shorts that obviously don't have straps, which is all to do with, women being able to pee. But shitting isn't ever really talked about. And I don't know, is it a problem?
I've never had this as a problem. I just don't see...
He just down his leg.
Yeah. It's got a pad there. It's basically a nappy, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're on a bike ride and this becomes an issue in the middle of nowhere, like, you've got bigger problems than the time it takes to take your bib shorts off. I'm
guessing he's, but potential like cafe stops.
They make it for female cyclists. It's been a thing for quite a while.
Yeah.
For years and years. I can remember this for like 10, 15 years ago. They started doing this. I just don't, if it was as big a problem, I think the industry would have started to make it other. And they've got the technology. They're doing it. They're doing the runs. But yeah.
Who's doing the runs?
I don't know. Could you not just buy a female bib short?
No.
Pad's not going to be
Absolutely
great.
not.
I actually totally see Sandy's point. If you look on your average cycling clothing maker and look at the amount of different products that are offered in the bib short category, there's probably loads. And one's a cargo and one's a race one and one's a core one. And they're like, why not offer that?
You've just given away the brand that you were looking at.
Well, yeah.
No, but I just think that they are. Well, that is one of the reasons cycling companies are struggling, because there's just too many variations of things that's just not needed. I knew of one that had black bib tights and then 3 different colors of prints on it.
Yeah.
For a small company. I'm not talking Rafa. And I was thinking to myself, like, why would you do that? Now you have to offer it in 3 different, just do more size runs and things like that. So more SKUs isn't better. On the other note of shorts, on bib shorts just for your racing, I would never, ever, ever cycle without bib tights or bib shorts, because the bib just keeps elastic off your bladder.
The bib part of it, the strap.
The bib part, it's more comfortable, keeps it up tighter. If you ride in the rain, you're going to have less sag, less chafing. For me, comfort-wise, it's a no-brainer. It has to be. I actually buy bibs based on the quality of the straps, not on the chamois and anything else.
So I kind of agree with Sandy a bit. And I think that shorts without a bib would be a much more usable product and take down a bit of the stigma around we need to have all of these things to be a cyclist. Because a short just feels normal. We all wear trousers and shorts and things.
No, see, I disagree with that, because shorts are available. You can buy shorts. There's loads of companies that do shorts for men.
There aren't.
There's loads.
There aren't. And if there are, they'll be generic stuff that was designed 30, 40 years ago and it's still the same
Are
design.
we talking ASOS money, serious money, or are we talking go to Star Cycles down the road, more mile, they've got shorts. Loads, 15 quid a pair.
But I'm
Just
not
go buy
talking
one.
about that. I'm talking about comparable quality with comparable pad and comparable fabrics.
That'll be purely based on the companies had them. ASOS used to do shorts. I don't know if they still do, because I don't look into it enough. But if they had shorts and they don't have it anymore, it'd be one reason only, people weren't buying them.
So I still disagree, and I think it is a good product. And part of it is this is based off of, I actually have them on right now. We designed some waist shorts for Atticus for the women's range, and we didn't ever end up doing them for men's. However, what I am currently wearing is a women's pair of bib tights that don't have a bib strap.
No, not bib tight, just waisted tights.
Waist tights.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
pad.
waist tights. The bib is the wrong word. Which have a really high waist. They're thermal lined. I cut the pad out and I just use them as running shorts. And I find them really comfortable. And we designed them to have a really high waist, silicone on them, and they just basically sit super high. So your historic concerns with the shorts are warranted, but there are ways around it, and that is that it's actually a torso wrap rather than sitting on
And
your
there's
waist.
ways around the bib. Just Take your jacket off. Take the straps off.
No, the product is already invented. It's the women's bib that has a magnet on the back or has a clasp on the back or just has stretchy shorts that just come down. Like the products are already invented. They're just not in the men's space.
Though. I don't want that. What I want is something which I can just chuck on that's got a pad on it.
But how
that doesn't have a bib. I don't want the bib bit of it. That's the bit which stops me from using it. That's the bit when I go like, I'm going to go for a bike ride. And then I go, I can't be asked with all the faff of dressing up like a fireman. And instead, I'll just put a pair of shorts on and go for a run.
I've got the solution. Why don't you go out and start your own clothing company and make this? Do you know what I mean? Simple as that.
I'm done. No. I'll just go for a run instead.
Next one, Morgan says, unpopular opinion. Big group road rides are terrible. The idea is great, but the usual persona of a cyclist tends to lean towards elitist or introverted or both, and too many attendees lead to a miserable ride. The background on this, I live in Austin, Texas, and the biggest club in town has an average attendance of 300 to 400 people broken up into 4 groups.
What? That's outrageous.
No, it's not really that crazy.
100 people per group.
Nah, in South Africa, in Johannesburg, there's a club and they get over 1,000 people out on a weekend. They split them up in groups. The club that I grew up in on a Sunday regularly used to get 250 to 300 people on one ride, not split up into groups. So it's normal.
It is not normal.
That is not normal.
No, for England, it's not normal because your roads infrastructure just can't cope with it. Your roads are too narrow. You wouldn't be able to put that many people together. There's too many stops and things like that. But in bigger countries, it's perfectly normal. I don't agree with Morgan says. Obviously, I don't know the context. I don't know his experience, and he might have had a terrible experience with this club, and there might be everything he says, but 300 to 400 people still show up, meaning there's 300 to 400 people that like it.
Well, so he goes on. I will read the rest of his message out. It says, the idea is fantastic, but you can't control how people act within that kind of turnout. I've been riding for 16 years now, and I think a group ride is maximum enjoyment at 4 riders. The leaders of this club are amazing and welcome all fitness levels, but the attendees often still judge or don't see this as a time to socialise. Even worse, people tend to either turn away from cycling or become elitist themselves. Yeah, it's that cyclist to elitist pipeline.
I'm going to say something really unpopular now, but we have the same problem with our club that I think, which is good.
Which club?
Bootleggers.
Okay.
Everybody wants all-inclusive. And all-inclusive is a great concept. I'm going to get loads of grief for this, but it doesn't work. Because if you've got, let's say on our club ride, we've got 25 lads out there that ride every week and they know each other and they all ride at about 17 miles an hour. They do their 80 kilometers. They know exactly what they're doing. It's all fine. And then you get somebody wanting to join, which is excellent, wanting to get into the sport, and they struggle to ride at that pace. Now, all of a sudden, the whole club has to ride at 14 miles an hour, for example. I'm just using random numbers. You can change. The 25 guys that regularly go have to change their entire ride for the one person. It's good to get people into the sport, but to some extent, some of them, they've gone out there, that's what they like to do, they ride, and now they have to compromise. And we do a thing of, obviously, we're making sure people are safe and fine, but we generally would say to somebody, it's probably best if you turn off. And that causes grief, but at the same time, I don't think clubs should do everything for everybody. I think clubs should focus on what they do and get all the different clubs that's a different space for you to ride.
I actually completely agree with this.
Yeah, that isn't controversial at all.
No, I think I would say there is more of a problem with a club if they were to say they were all-inclusive
that's what
then not actually be set up for that. So, for example, I guess inclusivity can mean different things to different people. If it's about riding pace, if you are going to offer all paces welcome, then what you really need is to have enough support and ride leaders to be able to split the speeds appropriately and have one of those rides be a no-drop ride. You can't put all of them together and then expect everyone to slow down. For example, the inclusivity thing might be that you have a women's only group. The inclusivity thing might be that you welcome people who are minorities in the group. And I think you have to then at least have your ride leaders have some kind of training in how to deal when issues arise. You know, if for example, you were like, we're all inclusive, we are a safe space to women, and then all of a sudden someone comes to you with a sexual assault accusation or whatever, like, while that isn't your job to fix that issue, you need to know how to appropriately handle that issue. There's loads of things that crop up with a very high umbrella term of inclusivity. If someone came to you and said someone's being Islamophobic or someone's being racist, like, how do you handle that? You know what I mean? Like, you have to have people in charge who know the appropriate channels to go down.
Agreed.
And if you're not prepared to do that, do not say to people you are a safe space for them. Like, I would rather know, if you're going to say we only ride at 28 kph, if you can't keep up, you will be dropped. Although I'd be like, oh, that's not me. I would rather know and not turn
exactly.
up. I would rather know and not turn up.
That's what I say. No, I agree completely with. When I was talking about all-inclusive, I mean about rideability.
Yeah.
I mean, the bootleggers as a club have kicked quite a few people out where they just don't gel with the rest of the group or say controversial things and stuff. It's just, mate, just go away. We don't want you riding with us. We're kind of bizarrely not very nice about it, but it's just, it just doesn't work. If you're going to be, it's essentially a no knobhead kind of rule in the club, which is bad, but it's, get rid.
I do think there is a difference as well. You can say, we are doing this distance at about this pace range. Anyone can join us on that. Yeah. So it's not always just about any ability can join.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a club feels like they wouldn't welcome you even if you could ride it as well.
Yeah, totally.
So there's
different levels to it.
Yeah, it is a very complex scenario. What my first thought of, or especially as you pointed out in the UK, if you had 100 people in a group ride in this country, as amazing as that sounds,
it would be havoc, wouldn't it?
Chaos.
It would be dangerous, I
dangerous.
think.
I wouldn't have the confidence that there would be sufficient ride leaders spread out through that group to manage it.
I know, it would be sketchy. I think the other part of his point is, I feel like he's talking about people, he's talking about feeling judged, he's talking about people not there to socialise, and I guess like having an elitist element. I think like there is definitely this connotation with cyclists that it is very elitist, and I do think that does exist, and I think that you guys have even shown that you are susceptible to feeling like you need to shave your legs and stuff because you have experienced that. But also, like, I think you just get heads everywhere in life. You just kind of, you're never going to get on with everyone, and just because you ride a bike doesn't mean you're going to get on.
Do you have an unpopular opinion? If so, we want to hear them. Send yours to wildonespodcast@cademedia.co.uk and you might feature on a future episode.